person. It was the Alvin Kamara show last night. Again, let's be painfully clear about that. On a day that, I don't know about you, Jake, that was a meat grinder of a game yesterday. That felt like, to me, that was the game, because it wasn't a, I don't know that I agree that it was the sloppiest of games,
right,
but it definitely was not a particularly, like sometimes you'll have these low-scoring battles where it still feels like very high IQ, high-skill football, and there were elements of that last night, but last night to me more felt like like two people who aren't trained fighters having to fight to the death. Like it was very much just like, let's just do whatever you can to try to survive and advance. Like I feel like there was some eye gouging, there was a lot of biting going on, and in the end, the Saints, it's what we keep saying, man, they just keep doing what they do this year, and that is win. Now 4-2 on a season in which they haven't had all their best players. They've been traveling all over the place, only played one game at home, and the two guys that are most responsible, Alvin Kamara and Demario Davis, the heart and soul of this offense and defense. They just continue to make plays. Let's start with Kamara, because obviously you've played running back, Jake. You can appreciate what he's doing. 30 touches last night, 180 overall, a touchdown. I mean, what do you think about Kamara's performance?
I think he is taking on a different role with this team. Like we've seen him in his career be so dynamic, but he's always had like a secondary piece to go with him, and they've paired really well, if it be Murray or it be Ingram in his career. And they've done, whatever they had to do to create this running back room that could almost do everything. But now this year, Alvin's doing everything by himself.
Yeah.
And it was a question that a lot of people were asking, could he handle it? Could he take this workload? Could he still be the same guy? I think he is the same guy. I think things are changing a little bit for him. Like he's concentrating more on some things than he used to before. So some of his numbers looked a little different. There was that game where he didn't get a target and everybody kind of freaked out in the passing game, but last night showed it's still a big part of the offense. He's just taking the workload as far as running the football too, because right now he does not have that counterpart. Now, you sign Lamar Miller to the practice squad, maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe a veteran like that who's had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons can be that guy.
Yeah. Maybe
he can help out, but I think Kamara you're really transforming who he is as a running back for the team is impressive.
Yeah, I think that I'm interested to see what Tony Jones Jr. is going to do when he gets back as well. But it really, like Jake's saying, it kind of doesn't matter because Kamara's just willing to kind of saddle up, put this team on his back. And right now, the increased workload does not appear to be creating any negative dividends. Like he seems to be holding up just fine, which is the fear when you increase a workload like that. But he says he feels fine, just a little extra ice after the game. So Alvin Kamara remains the key piece why this offense can find a way to win when they're kind of sputtering. And they were sputtering yesterday. I mean, I don't know if it was the bomb cyclone, but Jameis felt really inaccurate at times yesterday. Now, also his receivers didn't necessarily do him any favors. He had the back-to-back go routes that were dropped, right? A perfect pass dropped in there to Kenny Stills, right, and then a perfect pass dropped in. Was it? Oh, Kevin White. That's right. I was like, whoa. Did
Two
they just
good
throw a ball?
passes back-to-back.
Yeah, I was like, did they just throw a ball to Kevin White? Oh, look at that, dude. And you kind of saw what has played Kevin White his entire NFL career. So not the best night for Jameis. A lot of growing still to be done. A lot to learn from this one.
Good decision-making, though.
Yeah, but he avoided on a night where you had to really manage this game.
Yes.
This, like I said, this just scrappy garbage street fight. He avoided the big mistake. He took sacks, and sometimes maybe as he grows,
he ran the football.
Oh, he ran the ball really well. That's a really good call. Yeah. He ran the ball very well. I mean, on the scoring drives, he had big conversions with his legs multiple times. A couple fourth downs, a third down. So that's a fair point that I had missed there. And then look, I think that right now you can still feel him trying to be like overly conservative. I'm not going to make a mistake because there were some plays like that screen that looked like it was wide open for a touchdown. I think it might have been 3rd and goal for the goal, and instead of kind of fading backwards and finding a way to get out there, he just kind of
the tight end screen.
Yeah, he just kind of tugged. It was like, no, I'm not gonna screw this up.
Sean's talking to him like, you can get back a little bit.
Like you don't have to step up. Like the rush is coming, you don't step up actually. So still learning to be done, but doing enough to win the game.
Yeah. Before we move on to the defense, can we all agree, DK Metcalf, you're too big to be acting like that?
What do you mean, like with the hair, or just with the?
Oh, no,
just
not
the-
his appearance at all. I'm talking about like the.
It was like a very David Bowie.
The
look
little
going on
brother.
right
The
now.
little brother. I'm gonna get my shot in. Then when you retaliate, I'm gonna tattle on you.
Oh yeah, I mean
And
that was
like he's gonna push, and I'm him. Do you see him? He did it. He did. You too big to be acting like that.
I go both ways, right?
Oh, it was so. Oh.
But we do celebrate CD Deuce when he does that.
Oh, I don't. Y'all do.
Oh, I do. I mean, I love it.
I
dude.
do not.
It's like I said, one of my proudest plays ever is getting Jarrell Poe to punch me in the face. So I don't know. I kind of like that.
Oh my gosh!
I like
but
that
the thing
backyard
was, he was
needling.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And here's the deal.
Yes.
Oh, it always gets the second guy, and it does. But the referee went and warned both coaches, so they were watching the entire deal. At least they're supposed to once they warn you. And DK was doing the same thing, and Lattimore would do it, and it was like only him.
I know.
A couple of times that should have been offsetting.
I look. I agree.
I don't
I'm
mind
just saying.
Marshawn
I
Lattimore,
kind
I'll be
of
honest.
do appreciate the trolling there. Yes, Kate.
So if we can review calls and we can review, I know in the past it's always been it's not the guy who does it, it's always the guy who retaliates, right?
Yeah.
But if they can review, can't you go back and see what happened?
Oh yeah.
I mean, are we getting too much of a gray area with that?
No, I don't think you're getting it. I mean, well, I guess maybe if you're going to start adjudicating that stuff, you're getting into a gray area. I think the NFL has maybe just shown they're a little hesitant to want to review anything else, right? I mean, we all saw basically a in-house rebellion among referees when Sean Payton got the pass interference review passed. Like, they refused to overturn pass interference calls. So, I don't know. I don't think they're going to want to review. I did love the response from Lattimore after getting tripped up on that opening, which is a pretty sneaky move by Metcalf on that first touchdown, where he kind of caught his arm and it was like so lightning fast that you couldn't really tell, and he gets Lattimore on the ground. Great response by the defense, only giving up 3 points for the next 50 minutes
the
of
defense
the, or
played unbelievable.
55
Even that
minutes
play,
of the game.
like you mentioned, like
watch
that's-
this little hook right here if you're watching online. That little whoop. I mean, bruh. Good on him. I mean, that's kind of a salty vet move there, but Lattimore shut him down after that, as Lattimore has been want to do this year. But defensively, I mean, it does feel like it all starts with Demario Davis, dude. 7 more tackles last night, 2 sacks. How about that pass breakup that should have been a pick to end the game on 4th down? I mean, flying through the air out of nowhere. The dude is not just incredible, but he's an incredible leader. Keep going back to the heart and soul of this defense. Like, yes, I love Demario Davis. I don't know how the Jets keep giving us these elite linebackers, but like, I love what Demario Davis brings to this team.
I mean, this defense has played so well, and there's so many times that they could have just given up because they're put in bad spots. Like, certainly in this game with the offense, right? The offense is not giving you anything. And I know Geno Smith's the backup quarterback, but still, you're playing in Seattle. They have weapons with Lockett and Metcalf on the outside. They got their first-round running back in this contest in Penny, although he didn't do anything, right? So there's definitely still pieces to this offense that make up some really good football players, right? And you go out there and you shut them down. This defense is built for the long haul. Something they had not done all season long was get to the quarterback. Only 8 sacks coming in. They had 5 on the game this week. So if they can get that going, and they got some guys healthy, they're getting Onyemata back here soon. It's only going to get better, in my opinion, with who you're getting back.
Yeah, I mean, and you felt Marcus Davenport's return last night. He was fantastic. I don't know what his final actual stats were, but like, how about was it was him that got called for roughing the passer just for dominating his guy too
that
much,
was
right?
so soft too. That was
just because he picks up the tackle
terrible.
and parks him in the quarterback's lap. We're calling roughing the passer. Like, he even made a concerted effort not to hit Geno.
Yeah,
like he ducked off to the side and just pawed at him with one big paw. That was wild. But Marcus Davenport, I mean, that dude is strong. He was running over people, and you could feel that. Also, Dennis Allen knew, like, look, we're going to load up on this thing, add numbers, and make Geno make a decision before he get there, and he just couldn't do it in the end. So there's still more Saints football to talk about. We're going to go ahead and go to break. When we get back, we got more. I do want to break down the Traquan Smith stuff, what's going on there. I mean, in chat at the very beginning of all this, people were talking about get rid of Traquan, so it's kind of an interesting turn, given that everybody was so excited for his return. We'll break it down next on Off the Bench. So the offensive line, I mean, the return of Eric McCoy is good, but you lose Andrews Pete. and I know people don't like Pete, but it's still not ideal. You don't want to lose starting alignment, so maybe a bit of a wash there. By far, though, the return that probably got the most attention, but maybe negatively so, was Traquan Smith. We were talking about it during the break. Yeah, what do you think, Jake? He looked really rusty. There's the blow up with him and Jameis on the sideline. Just not what you were hoping for and getting. We've been kind of setting it up so much. Oh, you're going to get the weapons back, and then it just didn't really play out yesterday.
Disinterested, and I don't know how, if you've missed that much time, you can look that disinterested into a game. Monday Night Football, you're back. He should have been like a little jackrabbit, just going everywhere, right? But I didn't see that. It felt lethargic. It was a weird vibe from him, almost like he was pouting about something.
Yeah, why was he so
you're out there playing.
Felt salty about something. I don't know why.
You're out there playing in your return. I don't know. The team is counting on you to be an upgrade from what they had. They had to go get Kenny Stills, and they had to go get all these pieces that they're trying to put together. You threw a ball to Kevin White.
Yeah, yes. You threw a football to Kevin White on a Monday Night Football game. What?
I think it's just time to realize that Traquan right now is just not going to give you anything. And if I'm going to have a receiver room that's already down so much talent, I'm going to play the guy that runs the right route that actually looks like he's giving effort in that route.
And I like Jameis getting on him. I know that.
Look, he didn't. That's just.
Look, if you're going to be the quarterback, sometimes that's what you got to do.
Oh, the best do that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I liked seeing that fire for sure. And it started weird for Traquan Smith. Danny mentioned it during the break. The first drive, he had a touchdown. If he doesn't stop running, and he kind of like let up on the route, and so it caused a weird situation to monitor going forward.
How do you come out like that your first game?
I don't get it. You think you'd be chomping at the bit, like ready.
If I run the wrong route, I'm gonna do it going like a bat out of hell.
Okay, so we talked about Marcus Davenport being consistently disruptive. Again, I loved what you saw out of Dennis Allen, especially as the game went on, selling out more and more to just attack Geno. Kind of felt like they smelled blood in the water, and they're like, okay, we got this. Like, our guys can man up long enough till the rush can get to Geno. Tano Passanio had a big sack, which when that man breaks through, that is a tall individual to be threatening the quarterback back there. And then again, on a team where you have inconsistent offense and a great defense, the impact that a punter can have around the edges is massive. And Blake Gillikin continues to show why you had to move on from Thomas Morstead. Also, Danny, if you look in 715, if you want to go ahead and look at the Blake Gillikin paragraph and click on that Twitter video, you can watch Blake Gillikin doing the gritty in the locker room, which is funny because he's an awkward white punter, but he's actually kind of good at the gritty. I'll let y'all be the judge. But I mean, I thought that he's been fantastic this year, Jake.
He has been, and in the NFL, it's a real weapon because it's not like college. You're going to go for it more when you're on the plus side, and you're not going to try to punt it to pin them down as much because you just don't have that skill set from punters. But if they have a guy that's really, really good at it, and field position is the game in the NFL, and he's been consistently good, and he's kept them in games. He's made their other offense go, the distance of the field against a really good defense. And so when you have that in the NFL and you don't have a kicker that you feel comfortable about, it's like they needed him to be who he's been so far.
Yeah, and I think that the final piece that I think bears mentioning before we move on from this game, and talk about the Manning cast a little bit. I thought that the absence of Taysom Hill was felt. I know that Taysom Hill and those packages can be very polarizing to a lot of Saints fans, but I do feel that you felt way less dangerous in short yardage yesterday than you have all season long. Like, you were having to scrap and claw, where a lot of times this year you've had teams on their back heel. I also think if we're just I think it's one of the reasons why you've been so good in the red zone this year in terms of punching those into the end zone. It's because you're gaining an extra man in a lot of these packages with Taysom on these quarterback runs. So if it, they say absence make the heart grow fonder, I feel like Saints fans should come out of last night being like, okay, you know what? Regardless of what I think, the Taysom thing does make you a better team. And I look forward to him getting back sooner rather than later.
It's a weapon. Regardless if you like the spots that they choose to do it, it is a real weapon, the fact that you have a quarterback on your roster that can play running back, H-back, and receiver. Like, he can take up so many roster spots, and he can be a guy that helps you win games Short yardage, as we saw yesterday, can be a little troublesome at time for the Saints because they've relied on Taysom so much, and he's been so effective in that role. Sean, look, I think Sean obviously, like in the early years of Taysom, was really trying to probably be too cute at times. But it does feel like this year,
finding their way for sure.
It does feel like this year he's had the best hold on how he wants to use Taysom, and
it just feels better when you're taking off Jameis Winston to put it. When it always felt weird taking out the Hall of Fame quarterback, right, to run those plays, even when they were working, it still felt weird.
So it's a weapon, and don't be mad at this. There's a lot of teams I think that would enjoy having someone like Taysom be able to come in and do what he does for the Saints.
The problem is, turns out Tommy Stevens not as fast as Taysom Hill, so it doesn't quite work when you want to do that. That's why everybody's like, "Oh, he could be like Taysom Hill." I'm like, "Oh, does he run a 4.3?"
Yeah, I just think a lot of people
no,
don't remember Taysom at BYU, like beating Texas by himself, like back-to-back years.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. I thought he tore his ACL every year at BYU.
No, the years he played, he was that guy in college. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah. So huge win for the Saints. Again, bottom line, with one home game this year, a whole bunch of BS injuries, a whole bunch of hurricane craziness. This team sits here at 4-2 and is now 23-5 in their last 28 NFL road games. Show some respect to the God, Sean Payton, and this New Orleans Saints team. Love it. Dubs, Monday Night Football on a day you had to have it. Let's go. When we get back, we'll close out hour number 1. Still got to get to the Brady Cast highlights and some other, funny internet things I want to get to as well. And keep it locked right here on Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.